So we have this plan that is more or less correct. It has some weird stuff going on. And we have this old elevation, and we want to make a model of this new elevation, which I don't have CAD stuff for.
Yeah.
So the first thing I need to do is get a decent base to work from in Max, something in some lines that I can import. So first I need to clean up this plan so I can merge it in. So the first thing I'm going to do is use my layer off deal to turn off all of the stuff I don't need in here.
Then we're actually going to be getting closer to the building.
So I'm just left with pretty much the walls and doors and windows. And then I'm going to...
So do you
Go ahead.
So for the base model, for like the exterior part that you have, is that also done with CAD like this, where you have like your base like 10-plex or building that you kind of reconstruct from?
Nope. It's all in Max.
Okay.
So I'm going to take this and open up a new file, paste it in, and then I'm going to use the display configuration command to turn this to low detail, so it gets rid of all that extra stuff in the walls.
Okay.
And this is what I'm going to start from. So then I'm going to export this into Phillips Farm 8-plexes. I'll make a new folder for this project, CAD base, and then I'm ready to open up Max. Usually I start with a floor plan that has the correct walls. You can see in the sketch that there's obviously different depths to the walls, like some are in front of each other, but that is not on this plan. So that's going to be a little different from how I normally work, but we're just going to figure it out anyway. Hold on a second. So here's what I'm going to work from. Now where did my sketch go? Now you can see in the sketch that, can you hear me okay? Hello?
Yeah, I hear you fine. I just had myself muted so you didn't hear me background noise.
You can see in the sketch that stuff repeats here. So that's how we're going to divide up the elevation. Is the repetition in the sketch will have to correspond to these units. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw some boxes that will be the different units. I'm just going to go to the center of the unit. So I'm going to draw a little line here, and then I'm going to do a rectangle to the midpoint of that, and another rectangle to the midpoint of this one. And this rectangle is a little off, so I'm going to convert it to a spline and take those vertices and move them down there. Now I have these two rectangles that are the size of each of the units. And I should be able to rotate those so they're upright. And I'm going to put them here. So now they're standing up. Now if I right click and say convert to editable poly, now they are surfaces. And that's what I can start working from. Now we've got two of these right now, and the seam in them is right between these front of these two units. So if I go back to my picture, I'm going to try to figure out where that is based on this picture. And it looks like it's right about here, right?
Looks good.
And the other one is right past this door, which I guess is right about here. So I'm going to click this one, and so that I can edit these together, I'm going to click Attach and grab this other one. So now they're just one piece.
The wall's going to run north and south, and the first building will run east and west.
But see, they're still not connected, even though they're the same object. So if I go into
my... the welds are fused?
Yeah, well, if I go into my Modify menu and go into Vertex Sublevel, and I just hit Control-A for all, and go down to Weld. Where did it go? Click this little box. It shows me it's going to weld within 1 inch, and there's 8 vertices right now, and there's going to be 6. So click OK, and now they're connected. And now I want to start pulling out the different pieces that I was showing here. So it looks like the cuts I need to make are on either side of these doors. So I guess right there and right there is what I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see on the left of both. So yeah, right there and right there. So I'm going to go into polygon mode and select both of these. And then I'm going to do slice plane. And this, it just slices, it takes this yellow rectangle and slices wherever it is. So if I rotate this, then it'll slice through. See how the slice moves when I move the rectangle?
And did you just type in -90 or 90 to rotate it directly vertical?
Well, it was the other way. I mean, I rotated 90 degrees around the z-axis.
Okay.
It's all just relative.
Yeah. I just didn't know, I didn't know what command you could hit to turn it directly vertical, like the fastest.
Ooh, this wasn't on my monitor before. Oh. There you go.
There you
See
go.
if I'm here?
Okay.
I just go.
Yeah.
90, 90.
Okay.
So I'm going to put this, I mean, this is the rectangle now that I'm moving. So I'm going to put it here, do a slice, and then put it over here, and do a slice. That's easier to see. So So now I have my 2 slices, which should make up this big portion here. So I'm going to go back to polygon mode and click on these 2. And extrude them out a little bit. Should be good for now. And now I'm going to want to cut this other one. Now these windows right here, they go into this room right here. And see on the outside, they're centered in this vertical piece. So I have to figure out, based on how big I make this vertical piece, where these windows are going to come into this room. See, like if I draw a rectangle like this, and put another one there, and that's how big it is overall, that means those windows are going to be centered on this midpoint. So that's what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to go back into my polygon mode, but instead of slice plane this time, I'm going to use quick slice. And if you have your snaps turned on,
you give me a number on the wall.
Tell him to get out of there.
Yeah, he keeps pacing back and forth.
If you have your snaps turned off, you can slice just based on this line. So I'm going to do a slice there. And now if I look, that slice was really close to the line between our units anyway. So I'm going to...
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that we could do that.
Yeah, I'm going to undo that, and I'm just going to extrude out this piece. And that's my second piece. So that should be all of the vertical base information that I need. Now I need to start cutting this thing down. So now I need to know some heights to start slicing this up at. So if I go back to AutoCAD, see, don't need this anymore. That. Don't need that. So this is what I want. Now I'm going to turn all the layers back on so I can see what I'm doing. Now when we look at the roof here, you can see that the roof, it varies a little bit. Like the roof is a little lower here, and then the windows are higher here. And that's different from what this was. So I guess for the roof here at the end of the building, I want to go up to this higher up mullion part here, which is right about there. And if I'm measuring from the bottom of the door, see here I'm really starting, my base elevation is at the door, not farther down below.
That makes sense.
So if I'm measuring from the door, that's 17'2". So if I select all these and I do my slice plane again, rotate it over, and I can just type in 17'2" slice, and then that is my first height right there. So that's my first wall. Now I need to make, and is that true on the other side? Yes. So I can delete that. And now I need to make my gables. And the gables are a little higher up. They're about even with the top of that window. And the top of that window is 18.6. So I'm going to select these again, go back into slice plane, put in 18.6, slice, turn it off, and now I've got where I want to start from for my roof. Now what we need to know is the pitch on the roof. And an easy way to measure it, these are the same, right? Nope. An easy way to measure it is if I go 12 in this direction, and then this is 8. So that's referred to as a 12/8 pitch. So if I draw a box that's 12 by 8, the diagonal is going to be the pitch of the roof. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to go into my front view and draw a rectangle. Oops, turn off snap. That is 8 and 12. And I'm going to put that down at the corner here. Now if I go back into my polygon mode, all I have to do is do a quick slice and use with my snap-on, and now I have one side. Oops. Get this. And there's the other side. So now I just delete out the part I don't want. And that is the shape of the roof. No, that's not quite right. That's the shape of that part. I also need this one. So I need to do one more. Because I also want to make a slice here. So now I just have to modify this a little bit to look like this. So it's not supposed to jump out here, so I need to delete that and that. And now I'm going to press 2 to go into edge mode. And I'm going to drag this edge out here. And what I do is I click on the edge and I hold down Shift, and then you just move it. And drag this edge up here. And now I'm going to slice these edges up into what I want. So if I go back to my front view, go back to quick slice, I want to do a slice here and a slice there. And now again I just delete out the parts I don't want, and what's left over is going to be about the right size for what I need. And you can also go in and cut out the excess stuff here. So there's my walls for starting. Now I'm going to box this off down that way. I might as well take it all the way out. And this is how I usually create walls. It's just by moving this around. So that'll be good enough for now. Now, since this is going to repeat, I might as well get my windows and doors in there. So if I go back into polygon mode and select everything, I can make some slices for my door and window heights, which is going to be, looks like 3 feet, 7 feet, 8'6", 13, and 18'6". So now if I go back to slice plane, if it gets all messed up, you can just click reset.
Okay.
Rotate this over. And now in my front view, I'm just going to type in 3 feet, slice, 7 feet, slice, 8'6", slice. What was that other one? 13 feet, slice, 18, and 18'6", which we already have. So now I've got those horizontal slices set up, and now I'm just going to make some vertical slices. Now it looks like on the end, those windows are actually what I want there. So I'm just going to do quick slice, 1, 2, get that, get this door. Now this was the tricky one because I'm only showing 2 windows here, and they're not in the correct position on the plan. So for this one, I'm going to go back to my slice plane, and I know that this, where's the midpoint of this deal? I guess there? Okay. That's the midpoint of this wall. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty close.
Exactly.
Good enough. And now if I check here that a window is 5'10", then I know each end is going to be 2'10" for each side. So that means if I go 2'10" in the X direction, and then back 5, what? 8? Those should be equal. So I think that is all the subdivisions I need. See, then I can just start deleting out the openings. And I need one for this door. So then if I go into border mode, I can select these borders and just give these some depth. For these ones, I'll have to use edge mode because the borders would go around the whole thing. And now I can start dropping in some doors and windows. So I'm going to go over here and go into Windows, and you go width, depth, height. And since there's going to be 2 windows here, I don't want this big thing in the middle, so I'm going to increase the height and width of this by 1 inch in order to get rid of that. So the height will be 49 and 35. You can see it went over a little bit, went over the edge there, so I need to move this back a little bit.
Is that window in Max?
Yep.
Wow.
Copy this over here. And then I'm going to make the top part down there. Scoot it back in. And then I should be able to just copy it around. But what I'm going to do is, we probably want some detail on this, so I'm going to put in a couple panels. And then I'm going to convert this one to an editable poly and attach all these. Because then what I can do is, if I switch over my renderer to max, is it's really easy to set some of these up. Like if I want to have a window color and then a glass. Once this is an editable poly, I can give it the base material and then just go in to the glass parts and apply the glass, and that is done.
That's pretty crazy. I didn't know Max had windows built into it. That makes it so much easier.
Yep. And then I can just instance those around. This one has 3, which will make it a little more complicated, but not too much, because I can grab, see, in the Elements submenu of a polygon, it keeps most of the stuff. Now it doesn't really. Copy this over here. And I don't have to be really exact, I can just shift these vertices a little bit until they fit.
Yeah.
and that'll be close enough for now. And then on this one, if we don't want this guy to be as tall, I can just go into polygon mode again and just delete off that part. Now if I go into doors and do pivot door, again it's going to be width, depth, height, and it makes the frame usually outside of the calculation, so I usually have to decrease this a little bit. And no panel.
That's awesome.
Now the other thing I'm showing in here are these little coverings. So I'm going to try by matching the pitch of these. I'm going to take a line here. Rotate it, is that correct? Yeah. Bring it down here. That doesn't look too bad. In the line, then I'll just go into spline mode, grab this spline, offset it a little bit. In the side mode, I will then go in and thought there was there it is, refine. Add a vertex there because the edges of roofs, they usually have this kind of shape to them.
A little bit of cornering.
Yeah, so I'm going to do that. Now if I go in here, I can just copy this vertical value for that vertex and put it here. That's a hard way to make this easier. Now, so I don't get those squiggly lines, I'm going to turn all these to corner. Then I'll put in that vertical value, and for the X value, I'll use that one. I guess that's the Y value. And I'll grab this one's Y value and put it in for this one. And now I should be able to just extrude this out.
Okay.
And that'll be my little porch. And I can also turn this to a poly and then go slice off the part I don't need. And then I've got one porch.
That's awesome.
Now on the other one, I'm also going to try to match the pitch here. And I'll try something like that, I guess. And again, I'm just going to outline it. But this one's a little different because I need this arc in here. I'm going to make that into a corner. And then I'm going to attach this arc. And I'm going to get this and copy it over so I can use it again. Flip it. Oops.
And where do you pull the rotate transform type in menu from?
You can just right click on there. I'm going to close all these up. And then I should have a starting point for that little piece. And on this one, I'm going to kind of do the same thing I did before. Actually, this roof I'm going to just model completely differently. But this should give us kind of the base to work from. Now, moving on to the rest of this. We have this vertical gabled portion repeats. So I guess that's the next step, is figuring out, we should be able to copy this based on this door location, just from one door down to the next, and then we'll fill in kind of the leftover gap.
Mm-hmm.
But there are these few little details. There's a hole there and a hole up here that still needs to get worked in. So if I go back into polygon mode, I should be able to just make these in a couple slices. The circles, though, are difficult because there is no actual circle in a polygon. There's no real roundness.
Yeah.
So what I have to do is is take this and then just make a bunch of slices. And now I'm just going to delete out this portion. And then when I go back into the vertices, I can just move these to where they need to be. And now it's more or less round.
Yeah. Now I'll put a little something in here for now. And you can change the widths of that stuff in there, in the menu, to make it proportional. And for this circle, I'll just convert it to an editable poly and put it here. And I'm just going to make a little frame for it. There should be one called, I know what you do. You just use scale and shift like that. So now I should be able to copy this gable down. So when I have this, So
yeah?
is gable the roofing, the front and roofing of a house? Is that what's considered a gable, or is that the house?
The gable is just the triangle part.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So if I press spacebar, it will lock my selection, and then I can turn on move and turn my snap to thing on, and just copy this from here down to here. Go into elements, and then if I go into edge mode, I can connect all this. and that'll let me copy just from one down to the other.
That's awesome.
Now this part in the picture, it sticks up a little bit. I'm going to need another slice in there depending on where I want that to happen. But it's pretty far over, so I think I can figure that out. I'm just going to make another slice here, and then take this edge, bring it up there. Now next I need to start getting a roof on this. And I'm going to start from the outermost part here. I'm going to go back to the CAD file, and I can see how this roof detail kind of works. So I'm going to base it off of that. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually just draw a line here. Corner. And then I'm going to extrude just that line. And convert it to an editable poly. And I'm going to start the whole thing just based on that. So that's the underside of the roof overhang.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that it stops like just before the edge of the wall. So I'm going to go into polygon mode and give it a little slice just before the edge there. So that means this needs to come down. Oops. It's not going to help me. And then out a ways. I guess like that. And then back up a little bit. Then I'm going to take this and just copy it over here. But this one, this polygon is backwards now, so I'll just flip it. And if I need to make this go up farther, I can just copy this up here again. And slice it again. And now I've got half of the front of the roof. Now if I want to make this even a little more fancy, I can take one of these polygons out and rotate it a little bit and put it over here. Bring it over like that. it out here. Now if I connect this to it, I can do something pretty neat. Make a diagonal slice. Delete that part. Put this here, put this here.
Hold on just a second. Nathan just came in here.
Are they yelling at you?
Yeah, here, I'll be back in just a second. I don't know what I came in for. You need something, Nathan? Hey, do you want a copy of the pamphlet stuff? What? Do you want a copy of some of the stuff they gave me? You want a copy of some of the stuff they gave me yesterday? Alright, I'm back.
Okay. So all I've been doing is making this little detail, and now I have a little roof return. Everything okay in there?
That is fancy.
I can weld all these, and now I've got half of my roof. What's wrong here? That looks weird. I'm going to redo that just to be safe. It's okay now. So now I can mirror this guy. And I've got the whole first part of my roof. Oops. Now all I need to do is attach this side to this side. How does this look in AutoCAD? It looks different. So this looks pretty good, except I don't want this part. I want to make that a secondary depth. Bring it back like that. And then bring it down. So you can work free form in 3D, you just have to give yourself points to snap to, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to remember more polymodeling stuff that I learned, and it seems better than when I learned it because I don't remember ever using the border tool very much when I first learned it, but I mean, I just may not have been taught very well.
Because once you have the poly modeling figured out, you can pretty much make anything in 3D just on the fly. So now I'm going to bring this back so it's there. And now for my next roof, all I have to do is copy what I created here over to the next point. So if this is one edge of my roof, I can copy it over to the other edge, and there it is.
That's pretty awesome.
And then all I have to do is extend it up to meet the other one. I have a clean edge there. Now see, I want to get from this point here up to this point at the top, right?
Yeah.
But I don't have any reference there. So I'm just going to take all this stuff and create a new slice along the edge of this wall, which I think is that line. And now when I go back into vertex mode, now I have that point because I just sliced it. So now I can just bring it up there.
Wow.
Did I do that right?
It freaked out a little bit, but
What did I do
I was
wrong?
pulling some. It's pulling one of the vertexes down there, but
I grabbed too many.
how cool. Huh.
There we go.
So as long as you make a slice, you can make an infinite pull along that angle.
But it gave me a reference, point there to use. So now I just need to make this little return. So if I bring this out, copy to object so that I can mirror it.
Oh, did you want to talk to Matt real quick? Sounds like fun.
It's just very expensive if it's wrong, so.
Yeah, seems. Yeah. Doesn't seem like something to deal with at all.
So the gables for this roof are we almost have it. I'm just going to line this one up.
I always wondered how you got your stuff, how you modeled it in Max. I figured it was polymodeling, but I didn't remember how to do it very well myself.
Yeah, it's a little tricky, but it's the cleanest way to do it.
Oh, yeah, especially for architecture, there's
Yeah.
nothing that really competes with it. So, I mean, a lot of it is a refresher course and remembering like the best way to get the cleanest geometric results. So,
See, why is it doing that? It looks strange there.
which part? You mean that extra line that's cut there?
I guess it looks okay here. Yeah, it looks fine, and so. I mean, you can see like when the light hits it, it looks like it's like smushed a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it does look like there's a bit of an indent, but I don't think it's really there. I think it's just the way the light, the lighting situation.
So now I have my roof set up for these front gables.
Now you can copy it directly over.
Yeah, now like even for this one down here,
You can copy down there.
yeah. You know, I'll just drag it over.
Man, it's quiet at your house. Is
Yeah.
Andrew in school?
Yeah. Now, how should I model the rest of the roof is the question.
Would it be easier to make a separate plane and have it come down at the correct slope?
Well, this is the correct slope.
Like that?
This is the correct slope right here.
Pretty trippy.
Actually, I'm not even going to use that. It's going to be easier just to... So if I start with this guy again, Oops. I'm going to keep these as a separate object for a minute, just so they don't get in the way. I'm going to do, where is it? Detach. Attach this on here. That over there. And this roof is going to have to be taller. I can just go like that.
And that makes
Now,
the height elevation change for that second table, right?
the what?
That makes the height elevation change that you have for that second part of the roof to
Yeah.
the right where it changes height.
Well, I didn't even plan that, but it's about right. Now I just need to slice this roof up a little bit. Now I can just delete out that part. Now it fits
Perfectly.
right along there. So yeah, I'll slice this one. Delete that. Now that roof I was showing that's higher up, it's just like a shed roof. Like it just changes the pitch a little bit.
Okay.
Now I just need to put the windows in over here, which will be just two normal windows. And since I know now that these are the right size, I think I can just scoot them over here and make the slices just based on what looks correct. You know, now I'm actually slicing based on the model of the windows.
Wow.
So now those are in. Now there's just a little bit to clean up here. Then I'll clean up that part. And now the rest of it.
Awesome.
What?
I mean, I can't believe how much faster that is than trying to. I mean, that's even faster than trying to do it in SketchUp, like properly.
Yeah. And even this one, I should be able to. Can I just really copy it down? It's a little bit off. That's not quite right. But it's still based on this reference point. So I want to see, like this slice is vertical with this edge of this wall. So if I bring this over and I make a slice here that is also in line with the edge of this wall, then I should be able to copy this down like I was trying to. And now we're lined up correctly. And I should be able to do the same thing now with all of this. Just copy this over. Now the only thing I'm going to have to start adding on here is like the bottom part where these, because I'm showing like a couple steps.
Yeah.
'Cause usually the door is not level, is not like level with the dirt. There's either like a porch or a step down or something. Like, so just so water doesn't like leak right in the door. On some super cheap houses, sometimes they do put it level, but then it's you can get leaks coming in. So this will probably be a little higher up, so we'll make this come down a little bit. And then we'll have to put some like little steps here. Like if you go like that, invert it, extrude this out, put some slices in. Like that should probably work for each entry thing. Oh, this one's a little wider. All right, so you want to try it?
Yep. Yep.
I saved that in there, so just try. There's not very much left of this building, but try just finishing up this structure and roof, and then render out some shots with like just the white material on it before we get into texturing. And
Okay.
then we'll work on that next.
Okay.
But let me know if you have any questions, and I should be able to like figure it out with you.
Okay. Sounds pretty good. I need to get an energy drink. Ugh.